Hey everyone, my name's Reese, and in this video, we're going to set up some of the most essential GA4 events for your Shopify store. As of this recording, Shopify hasn't released a GA4 integration like they have for Universal Analytics. So we're going to be using Google Tag Manager to be able to track product views, add to carts, and purchases. So this is going to involve a little bit of copy and pasting with JavaScript, but you definitely don't need to be a programmer to do what we're going to be doing. And you will be able to track some of the most vital e-commerce data for your store in GA4. So with all that said, let's get started. First, we're going to go to edit the code so that we can add Tag Manager. So we're going to do that by copying right here, and we're going to go to theme.liquid, and we really just want to paste this as close to this head tag as possible. So I'm just going to paste it right below, and we'll save. And so for the next few pieces, we're going to be adding some specific code for purchases, checkouts, or purchases, add to carts, and product views. So we're going to go to the checkout tab right here, and we're going to go all the way down to where it says order status page. And so the first thing that we're going to do is paste our tag manager code there as well. And we'll also go to this sheet that I've built called the Shopify data layer map. And so go ahead and check the description for a link. I'll go ahead and make this sheet available to you all so that you can copy paste here as well. So the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to click inside this field up here to copy it, just because if I copy from the cell, it's going to add some extra quotes that can mess things up. So then I'm going to go back here and paste my script below. And basically what this will do, so we have this first time access tag here. This just means that we won't overcount our purchases in case people come back to see whether their order shipped. So we'll save that. And then now we're going to go back to the theme, add our code for product views and add carts. So we'll go to edit code. And this is where I'll mention that your mileage might vary a little bit. And the reason why is that if you have a custom theme, for example, I'm just going off of the basic Dawn theme. We're really just looking for our product page template right here. So if you have a custom theme, it'll probably be named something different. Across different custom themes, I've seen it named lots of different things. So if you're not sure, I would say reach out to your developer just to confirm what the name of your product detail page template is. So first, we're going to go to our view item event right here, and we're going to copy this code and paste it here at the top of the page. And so this is just going to tell us when people view a product detail page, and it'll fire this view item event. So next, we're going to look for our add to cart button, because we also want to fire an event whenever someone clicks an add to cart button on the page. If you're not sure what your button's going to look like, we're going to click the inspect button right here. And so we're looking for a button where the class is product-form submit button. So if I look right here, class product form submit button, that all looks good. So I see this little right arrow signifying the end of that tag. So I'm going to go to the data layer map again, and I'm going to copy this code and paste it right there before the end of that tag. So if your code looks like this and has all these different colors in it, that's a good sign. So like if I were to paste it right here, for example, there's also this button end tag here, but my code doesn't have the same activity going on showing that the event would be active. So I'm not going to paste it there. We'll have it right there and we'll save. So now that we've added the code, we want to see if this information is at least making its way to the site. So I'm going to close out of this window and we'll do a preview. This will at least let us see, is the code that we added sending over the right data or the right raw data about our products. So I'm here on the product page. We see the view item event fire, so that's good. And if I expand this data layer menu, then we see that it's sending over the right price and the right name of the product. So just know that if you're seeing anything here that looks off to you, go ahead and check how your product is configured in Shopify, because it should be pulling this information directly from there. So we'll add this to cart now too. Add to cart event fires, we have the same information, so that all looks good. So now that we've added all of the code to the site that we need, now it's time to build things out in Tag Manager so we can send that information to GA4. Our basic workflow for Tag Manager here is going to be to build out our variables so that Tag Manager knows like what data we're trying to bring into our tag, the trigger, which is going to tell us when our tag should fire. And then, of course, all that gets tied together in the tag itself. So for variables, I've already built these out because I went through this a couple times, and to be honest, it was a very repetitive and boring process. It's, kind of like if you've seen it once, you've seen how it's going to happen each time. But I will tell you how this is set up. So if we let's look at our purchase tag. If we go to our purchase tag right here, we see a few attributes under it, and actually we'll look at this right here instead. It's a little easier. So under our event, this is basically our data layer right here, the information that's being pulled from it. And so with our variable setup, we're basically just saying we want to take all this information about our product and send it through a tag. So in this case, we have this data layer variable for ecommerce.items. So basically it's saying, start off here and then pull the item information. So we have all of our product info, the name, ID, price, all here under items. So this variable right here is going to pull all that info. And if we look at our purchase tag, we've also got a few things above that for currency, shipping, tax, value, and transaction ID. And we've got all that right here. So if you want to see what that looks like from the start, we'll go to data layer variable. And so if we were doing this for our items tag or items variable, we would just do that and then name it up here. So that's pretty much what that looks like. Now we'll move on to triggers. So in this case, we want our trigger to fire whenever this event happens. So we're going to set up a custom event trigger. And in this case, if we wanted to fire on add to cart, then we will name it add to cart. And we wanted to fire on all of those. So we'll call it custom event add to cart. And then we'll copy this and do the same for purchase. And then we'll copy it one more time and do the same thing for view item. And then we'll save that. All right, cool. And so now it's time to start building out the tags themselves. So we're going to go to tag configuration and we'll do GA4 event. And first we have to select a configuration tag. So if you haven't set up a configuration tag yet, I have a video that you can check out on how to set up your configuration tag. And then, it's super quick. It only takes a couple minutes. Once you set that up, come back to this. So we'll select our configuration tag and we'll say that this is for our view item event. So in this case, we want this to basically reflect exactly what our trigger says. And really, it's not so much about the trigger. We want it to reflect this right here. All these things are interconnected. Actually, we could call this something different if we wanted to. For reasons I'll probably have to get to in a different video, we do want it to be view item. So now we're going to add some parameters. And so if you're familiar with the event setup in Universal Analytics, you might remember that they use category, action, and label for all of their events. And this is kind of like that, except GA4 makes it a much more flexible setup where instead of having to stick to those predefined, sets of category, action, and label, we can use whatever we want. So in this case, our parameter name is items, and it's going to pull all this information we see here about the product. So we have our trigger, our event name, and our parameter right here. So we'll just name this and it goes on our product page and G4 event view item. Perfect. All right. And then we'll copy this tag right here so that we can set up add to cart also. And I'm just going to copy add to cart right here so we can copy that in, and it'll use the exact same parameter. And then we'll remove that trigger, replace it with add to cart, update the name. We're good to go. So now we've got one more tag to add here for purchases. And so I'm going to copy our purchase event right there, and we're going to update the trigger here too. And so in this case, we're actually going to use a few more additional parameters because you can see we had those other variables built out. So we want to add these in here too. So we'll include our transaction ID, the value, the total price of the purchase, the tax, and the shipping, and what else? Currency. Perfect. We'll update our tag name, and this happens on the order status page. I just like to include this. It helps. In my opinion, this is a really clean naming convention for Tag Manager, so you can see where things happen on the website, what it's from, etc. More info for a different video. And so now let's go ahead and do one more preview, and we'll make sure that this is all firing correctly. All right, and let's go to the hoodie this time. So we see that our view item tag fired on that event, and perfect. We see all the information is getting carried through right there via the parameters. And then I've also got the debug view open here in GA4. And so you can find this under configure and debug view. So I can even see this view item event fired here, and it's got information about the hoodie here as well. So that's all looking good. Go back and we'll add this to cart. And then let's check out. We'll do a test purchase here too. All right. Sure. Katy Freeway. And then we'll go to shipping and do free shipping. And then we've got the demo payments enabled. So I just got to enter a real expiration date, and then we'll pay now. And you might have seen tag assist not connected during checkout. Unless you're on Shopify Plus, we can't edit any checkout code. Otherwise, we would do that here. All right, cool. And then our purchase event fired here also. And we've got all our information about the purchase right here. And if I open up the purchase tag, it does show that I bought both the cool hoodie and the cool hat, which is awesome. And we can see that here in GA4 also. One thing that I'll mention, I think I already had this set up in this property, but you would want to go to your events right here, and you'll probably see something like this. You'll want to make sure you're tracking purchases as a conversion. Once you get some data, usually, if it's not here within 24 hours, sometimes it only takes like 6 to 8 hours. You'll see a drop down, or not a drop down right here, but like under this mark as conversion row right here, you'll see a switch that you can toggle. I really recommend toggling that on for purchases. You'll make sure that you're capturing purchases as conversions here in GA4. We're all done at this point. I'll probably cover in some later videos why we did some of the things that we did. If you want to see any other types of GA4 setups, then just leave a comment, and hugely appreciate any subscriptions to the channel as well. Thanks.